Kirkiner with AppleTell here at Macworld iWorld 2014, and we're with David from Tapped, who is going to tell us about his app sharing app. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Kirk. We're an app discovery platform for iOS, and we're doing things a little bit differently though. We're about the apps we're talking about, which is really about sharing what you know about apps and tapping into what your friends, experts, and people with shared interests are talking about apps. So instead of looking at what's being downloaded the most, you can go onto Tap and you can see what people are talking about. And you can quickly tap into those conversations, and you can join a conversation or start a conversation yourself about an app. So if I'm looking at an app that I'm interested in, it could be an app that I haven't heard of before, I can quickly search it up on Tapped, and I can see how many people are talking about it and what they're saying. And I can tap into that conversation. So it's really an app discovery process for me, but we think that the best way of finding apps and what we're trying to solve, I guess, in the Apple ecosystem is a better way of trying to tap into those good apps. And we think, that best way is to word of mouth recommendations. Is what you and I are saying about apps that counts. And, long form on the journalist sites, and the blog sites, and the review sites, and we're trying to bring a short form, shorter version of that people can just quickly get into it and quickly see what people are saying.
Right. So you don't have to trust a site like AppleTell to tell you what we think of the app. You can actually see what your friends are doing, or even follow some, because you can follow people directly if there's someone you trust, right?
Absolutely, but we wanted this to be a place that where AppleTell can have their own profiles as well. So it's certainly a place for users to tap into their friends, but a big part of this is experts as well.
Right.
So we want people like AppleTell on there with their own profiles, and links back to the full reviews. This is a short form way of someone coming in and looking at what you, Kirk, for example, love in apps. So they can look at your profile and they can say these are the 20 apps that Kirk's most using. So that's really important to us, is that they can tap into the expertise that's already out there. Because ultimately, my friends aren't always the experts on things. I need to be able to get into and understand, what some of the real people that are in the industry all the time are saying as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like following, say, a particular movie critic that you like. You trust his opinion. So if you have someone that you can follow, then you'd be able to just see what that person's looking at right now.
Absolutely. And look, your friends are good. You're probably going to take a friend's recommendation, but we needed this to be, a place that not, you couldn't just tap into your friends. You could tap into those expertise out there. And a lot of that expertise is coming from just app enthusiasts out there as well. Yeah. The third place that we really wanted to try and get right is for the developer, though. Right now in the Apple ecosystem, there's no feedback that the developer can have on bad reviews or bad comments on the App Store. We wanted this to be a place where the developer could also pitch into the conversation and answer some questions and engage your user base.
So if someone has a really illegitimate complaint about an app, the developer would be able to address it directly, right?
Absolutely, and that gives them, firstly it answers the user's question. Maybe the user's just using it incorrectly. Maybe they weren't picking one of the finer points of the app, but this allows that conversation to start, allows you to read that conversation as a bystander as well, and make your own mind up there based on a more informed conversation that you're reading.
Yeah. Now I know it's early, the app hasn't been out that long, but what app have you noticed has really gotten a lot of attention right now that maybe you wouldn't have discovered otherwise?
Oh look, well there's a couple of apps right here at Macworld. Camino's been trending on Tapped. Since I've been using Tapped, I've actually found a whole heap of apps that I just wouldn't have tapped into myself. There's one, Up Coffee, everyone knows about that one now, but I found that on Tapped. Someone recommended it to me, they pushed it out to me, because you can do that on Tapped as well. You can actually send specifically a tap or an app to somebody that you know. And so someone actually pushed it out to me, and as a result I bought one of the Up 24s to link into the app. So that's got me into the monitoring of coffee intake, and there's a whole heap of apps that are trending there at the moment. We've seen Evernote's doing really well on there. A lot of people talking about Evernote. So some of the big popular ones are there, sure, but there's a lot of new ones. There's a game called Smash, which is starting to trend on the App Store as well. But it's being talked about a lot at the moment on Tap. You can read what people think of it. But there's some good games. There's some good cardio apps. We've been tapping into all sorts of things. And as a user, you can do that because you can tap into your interests. When you log into Tap, you actually select a few interests, and so it's going to show you in your feed the taps or the shares that are what's being spoken about when it comes to your interests specifically.
Okay. How many times has your own app been tapped?
Oh, it's actually ranking. We're trending. So Tapped is trending itself. So and really good feedback on it. People loving the interface. We spent a lot of time before we even touched coding. We spent about 6 months on the wireframe and design work with a branding agency to really make this a clean-looking, beautiful-looking app for app discovery. So you notice a few things in there. We don't show icons off too much. We're showing off screenshots of the app so that you can connect with what the actual content is a little bit better than just an icon. So that was a really big process for us, was to really make the user experience immersive. So when you got in there, people are attracted by the interface and they're scrolling through a feed in real time, which is a little bit different from just, say, just searching on an app store, which has no real-time component without it.
All right, and it's definitely an app where the more people that use it, the more useful it ends up becoming. So if you haven't grabbed it yet, check it out. It's TAPPD on the iTunes App Store, and
yeah, get tapped in. It's the app's worth talking about. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, cheers.